All right, I am headed out to go to Smash Plastic, the record pressing plant, for the first ever pressing of the first ever live at Bitter Jester Music Festival album on vinyl. Gonna go meet Trevor from Val's Halla, and we're gonna go to Smash Plastic and watch this sucker get pressed for the very first time. It's all music festival gear in my car. So, I'll be back. Okay, I have arrived at Val's Halla Records in Oak Park. Ugh. Let's do this thing. We gotta drive to Smash Plastic. But let's do this part of this thing. I need to lock my car door. I did. All right. Ready for this?
I'm ready for this.
I'm already rolling.
Yeah.
Big day.
Yes, big day. You know what today is, Jackson?
The record pressing.
Pressing of the first Bitter Jester Music Festival album. The first record at Val's.
On the Val's label.
On the Val's label. How
Yeah.
cool is that?
Oh, look, we're wearing our respective...
Yes.
Yeah.
Gotta represent.
Yeah. We're at Smash Plastic. Recycle.
Hey.
About to walk in for some history making.
It all starts in about 10 minutes. The magic happens.
Yeah, unless we get here and they're like, oh, sorry, we had to cancel. And the labels won't be printed, the sleeves.
Hey, how's it going?
How's it going?
Good.
Robbie. So here is press number 2 that we're running your job on. I'll give you a run through. This machine works from left to right. It's actually 3 machines. They're completely independent of one another, pushed into one thing. So right here, we have an extruder for the PVC. Then here we have the press itself with a hydraulic ram. And then here we have the transport and trimmer functions where we stack everything up. So starting here on the left, is my step ladder. Hold that thought. So here we are. First up is our hopper. And right now, whoop, I'm about to run out. Let me get a little topper.
It's live television.
So, I'm adding a little bit of purple since I'm predominantly orange right now. So in our hopper, we have loaded up a mixture of orange and purple. And this is actually regrind that we're working with at the moment, which is other records that weren't up to snuff that we rejected for quality control, that we've reground, having punched out the center labels on those, and we get more life out of PVC that way. So that feeds down through the hopper into the extruder here. We have 3 separate heated barrels, which are representative here on screen with their target temperatures and then their actual temperatures, which right now are matched within a degree. So that gets fed into here, and then it's like it's a long. I always say it's like a barbershop sign. There's a screw, and it runs out a tube of PVC, and that gets forced into this pre-mold right here, which you'll see is descended there, and it's going to lift in a second right there and produce a puck, which you'll see pop up right now. So then that puck is fed in an automated fashion into the press itself, along with a top and a bottom label as a sandwich. That goes in, and then essentially here at the press, it's just like a waffle iron. You've just got 2,400 pounds per square inch of pressure, and a bunch of heat. Right now we're doing 16.5 seconds of heat, and then letting that dwell, that hot water just sit inside cutouts on the inside of the molds. That transfers to the plastic inside. Then we cool for 17.5 seconds, dwell with that cold water for 8 seconds. Then the machine opens back up after a total of roughly, in this instance, about 50 seconds. That smushes the puck out to the sides and beyond the shape of the stampers, which holds negative information of the music. If we weren't to press beyond the sides of the record and overfill it like that, then you would have what's called underfill and additional artifacts and noises introduced to the lead of each side. So that comes out of the press and lands on a trimmer plate where we knife off the excess. This is called flash, and this also gets repurposed and goes on to become a record down the line, having been reground. After that, they drop onto these spindles, and about every 5 records or so, we put a cooling plate in to disperse that heat and allow it to cool evenly. And these are going to stay on spindles overnight before they reach our packaging department for QC and stuff. So we're going to offload from this machine onto another spindle, doing an initial quality control check on the way out. Then it's going to sit overnight here on that cart, and we're going to swap this rolling cart with the one in the next room tomorrow, once these are cooled and all set. And at that point, having been QC'd once, then they'll really be scrutinized by our packaging department, and they're going to weed out anything that's not up to par for the project, that's not beating the test press, or has any kind of marks or, aesthetic compromises, cosmetic stuff.
And then can you talk a little bit about the solid color versus the ones that'll be slightly like a muddle of colors?
So what we're doing right now is working with the combination of 2 colors, and we're going to shortly here be seeing, so when I was looking at the hopper earlier, there was just a little bit of orange in the bottom, so I tossed in a little bit of purple. That takes the length of the extruder to reach the nozzle where the puck is formed. And by the time the purple comes up, you're going to start seeing what we call a transitional color record, where you get a mixture of the orange and the purple. Maybe we can dig out a copy here. I think I buried my good example deep in there. There's one. So you get a hybrid transition between the colors where you're getting bits of both. So we're going to work in small batches of PVC to accommodate that and be able to provide more transitional records for the job as we go.
Random question for you. What
Yes.
What is your favorite part of working here? Like, what's your favorite part of this job?
I don't know, I just like the connection that we have as a company to Chicago's music scene, and we work with a lot of local labels and artists, and it's really nice to be able to see those people's dreams, their artistic visions coming to life. People get really stoked when they get their final product.
Yeah.
That's probably the most rewarding bit of it. I can speak for a lot of press ops here that we all enjoy doing these transitions, because you get cool, somewhat unpredictable results like that, where you get unique, singular records that aren't going to be replicated. So there's one, and there's the next one. You can see how they transition quickly. These guys want everything to look like this, so let's work in little tiny cups rather than buckets. They're looking for everything, getting a little action in it. There's Nick, our pressing manager.
Oh, we met before. My name's Nick too. So yeah, that was
A couple of Nicks.
cool. Anything else about this process or this machine that might be interesting?
Nothing springs to mind. Like I was saying, it's basically just a big waffle iron where you get your batter, you get that up to temperature, you throw it in there, you squeeze it out, and in a word, that's that. Now, of course, there are all sorts of mitigating factors and QC and stuff that we're trying to hit peak temperatures and times and everything. It's a pretty simple process when you break it down.
Fascinating.
The initial pass of quality control that we have people offloading these spindles and checking off all these bullet points for any issues that may arise during production. And we only check a few of them at a time, but then once we have ensured that at least most of it is top quality stuff, then it cools overnight, hits that room, at which point they're appraised individually. And they're regularly checked in on sonically for audio playback, but every single copy has a visual appraisal done of it.
I have to imagine the average person has no idea how many pairs of hands handle
The
each
average
record.
plant doesn't do this much. Many plants have many plants have manual presses where they're closing the top of the press and then peeling the record off, setting it on a drawer plate and sleeving it right away. So QC is actually completely non-existent at a lot of plants, a lot of manual plants.
And that's what causes warping too, I would imagine, right?
Sure, yep.
Yeah.
You can definitely package something prematurely and the material can continue to distend and change shape and characteristics as it cools. And then there also, there's a huge factory in Czech Republic called GZ, and they're fully automated, so that their machines go straight to sleeving and jacketing and shrink wrapping, and it's just
While it's still warm,
run.
basically?
Yep.
Like hot
and
records?
No, not a human in the process.
Wow.
They're loading up the hoppers at the start, putting stampers on, then
Well,
bam, right into the
I
box.
prefer the human touch.
We set a high bar around here with our stuff. We all agree with the point that invariably happens here and there.
Printing companies usually do as well, right? So
There's always, I can't speak to that, Mark.
you just hope that you don't overrun and they don't.
Right, exactly. I mean, we run into that too. Oop, ran out of PVC. Over the noise here.
we're back at Val's. We just were over at Smash Plastic, and got
all
to
the
watch.
magic happened.
Yeah, we they had started the press before we got there, so we didn't actually see the very first record being pressed, but we saw the first ever batches of records being pressed.
Yeah.
And do you have any final thoughts?
That was amazing. Like, we got to listen to some of it. Sounds great.
Yeah.
So, I'll come in your way. It's gonna be amazing.
And all handled, every single record pretty much handled by at least one person to spot check everything. So they're really very hands-on there.
Big
So
on quality control.
yeah, I'm excited. So that's it. That's it for this leg of the journey.
Yeah.
Awesome.